Presented by Mortgage Right. I'm your host, John Sarianides, and per usual, I'm joined by my partner, Kevin Stone. Kevin, how are you on this cold Monday night in January?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Doing all right. Wishing it was warmer, but it is what it is. It is January, and we are now into the new year, and hopefully, it's off to a good start for folks out there, and that it continues to be a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year. Now, before we do get started, we got plenty to talk about tonight. I do want to remind you that we are brought to you by Mortgage Right. If you're looking to sell your current home, purchase your next home, purchase your first home, or refinance, give Herb Devine a call at 781-254-2846. You can also shoot him an email at herb@mortgageright.com. With over 28 years of experience, he has the knowledge and the know-how to help you in this process. Again, we're into January now. We're into the new year. Business is going to start to pick up on the real estate market. You're going to start to see more and more inventory on the market. Now is the time to get in touch with Herb Devine. Again, that number is 781-254-2846, or you can shoot him an email at herb@mortgageright.com. He and his team are available anytime, including nights and weekends. All right, Kevin, Patriots demolished the Miami Dolphins to wrap up the 2025 season yesterday, 38-10. We're on to the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. The last time the Patriots made the playoffs, of course, was 2021. They're going to take on the Los Angeles Chargers, who are the 7th seed in the AFC. Of course, this game is going to be played on Sunday night. It's part of Sunday Night Football. It's slated to be an 8:20 kickoff. We talked a little bit about this on the post-game show yesterday. I think there were a lot of people that were on board with this matchup and are on board with this matchup. But I cautioned people yesterday in that this is a team that can run the football. They play good defense. They can ball control you. They lead the NFL in time of possession, and they're very well coached. Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman, Jesse Minter, really, really good staff. This is going to be a tough game for the Patriots. I think if Patriot fans out there think that this is going to be some kind of a romp, I think they could be making a mistake here. Now, given how well the Patriots have played this season, I mean, really, if you think about it, the last 3 months have only had one bad half of football, and that was in the loss to Buffalo here 3 weeks ago. Given the way they've played, the expectation is that they're going to win big. But I wouldn't go into it thinking like that. This Chargers team, despite the fact that they lost 2 in a row down the stretch, is a pretty good football team.
Yeah, when we made predictions last night at the end of the Patriots post game show, I think you, me, and John Lyons all had 2017, 24, 14, somewhere in the 10-point, 7-point range, and I think that's what it's going to be. There's a few things here that I just can't get past. One, it's the Patriots playing a playoff game at home for the first time in 6 years. And I know you're not a big believer in vibes and atmosphere and all that, but I do think that place is going to be, pretty charged up, no pun intended.
Well, and by the way, if you remember the last time they played a playoff game, it was Tom Brady's last game as a Patriot.
Correct.
Mike Vrabel was there, and he had something to do with it too. So
yeah, so I think of all the games we've been to this year, we talked a lot. That place has progressively gotten better as the season has gone on in terms of becoming a hard place to play again. And I think Sunday is going to be sort of the tipping point of that. I think that place is going to be very hard for the Chargers to get a win in, but they're banged up. Their quarterback has a broken hand. I know it's just not a throwing hand, but and I know the weather isn't great or doesn't look great if you're a Patriots fan, but it's still a dome team coming up here at night in January in Foxborough. So with all that being said, it's going to be a close game, but I can't, for the life of me, I can't figure out how the Chargers win. And I know on the field, it's a lot different than everything I just said, but again, maybe it's sort of the Patriots Chargers history when it comes to the playoffs. That's kind of playing a factor for me too, but I can't see the Patriots losing this game. I just can't.
Yeah, I could see them losing this game. I think if Los Angeles comes out, establishes their running game early, protects Justin Herbert, and they're going to have to work at it. They're going to have to do some max protect stuff. Obviously, Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt, both of them are out for this game. Slater's been out all year. Alt has been out most of the year. If they can find a way to protect him, establish that running game, shorten the game, as I mentioned, they lead the league in time of possession. that defense is going to get after Drake May. They're going to get consistent pressure on him. They're going to make life tough on them offensively. I think the Chargers can win this game. I really do. Will they? I'm probably not going to pick them. But if you told me on Sunday night at 11:30 that they beat the Patriots and ended their season, I wouldn't be shocked. I think they're good enough to come in here and get it done. Weather to me is not going to be as much of a factor as other people do. They're not a dome team. They don't play in a dome. That it's not a dome per se in that a traditional dome. So I don't think that that's going to factor into it either. I mean, again, I hate to throw cold water on the Patriot season, but I still have a lot of trepidation with this football team and the type of success they can have in the playoffs. You've obviously been bullish for most of the season. Obviously, we talked about this last night. A lot of people who thought they were going to win 13 games are doing victory laps last night. But again, it's the NFL playoffs. I think it's the hardest championship to win in North American sports because it's single elimination. It's not like the stupid NHL playoffs that are 4 rounds of 7 games, the most overrated playoffs in North American sports. It's idiotic that you have to play 7 games in each round. This is a harder tournament for me because you have one bad game as a player, one bad game as a coach, your season ends.
No, and to that point, it's a young team that hasn't been there before, and Vrabel,
and that matters.
Correct, 100%. We talked about experience at all 3 levels. Honestly, it matters in the postseason. You can't deny that. And to some of the points you were talking about earlier, and you tweeted about this today, Mike Vrabel said all of that today. He's well aware of what the Chargers can do, but just in general, I think it worked out pretty well for them when it comes to how the playoffs kind of are shaking out matchup-wise. Now, some stuff needs to happen, but if Buffalo and Pittsburgh win, you get Pittsburgh in the next round at home, and Buffalo can very well go to Denver and win that game. So I'm getting way far ahead, but if they do get a win, stuff plays out very well for them.
Ken Matthias checks in. Great post-game show, gentlemen, last night. Thanks, Ken. Great to have Patriots football back in the playoffs with the key injuries to the Chargers O-line and Patriots injuries on defense. Who has the advantage? Also, will Spillane potentially be back? Well, the Patriots have the advantage. With Slater and Alt out, that certainly benefits the Patriots. Thing is, the Patriots need to get healthy. Harold Landry's missed the last couple of games. You got to get him back. We think Spillane's going to be back. If you get those 2 guys back, you have the advantage up front. That being said, if for whatever reason Landry doesn't play or Spillane doesn't play or they both don't play, then you might not have as much of an advantage as you could have. One thing about this Patriots team that is concerning to me is they don't rush the passer effectively. They did at the beginning of the year, but I feel once Landry got hurt in that New Orleans game, he hasn't been the same. K'Lavon Chaisson's been their most consistent edge performer, and I think Anthony Jennings has done a tremendous job stepping in and giving them production as well. But this is not a team that rushes the passer very well. They have to bring pressure or run TE stunts to get consistent pressure. So if they're going to win this football game, they're going to have to figure out a way to get after Justin Herbert, and they're going to have to do it with their base personnel. It's not going to be enough to run TE stunts and loops and all this other stuff and pressure. If you have to do that and play man coverage behind it, if he gets any time, he's going to beat that man coverage.
Yeah, no. So the good news is we've seen both Landry and Spillane practice the last couple of weeks. I think they've been very cautious with really all of their guys, and we've talked about this throughout the year. Vrabel knows how to take care of his guys, or at least tries to throughout the season. So I think they've been cautious with both Landry and Spillane. A few weeks ago, Spillane was at a boot. We did see that, but he's been out of that for a while. So I think they're going to play. I hope they're going to play to every reason you said. But I do think Milton Williams coming back yesterday and looking how he looks fills a lot of holes if those guys are out.
Yeah, I mean, he played really well, and that would be huge for them. Obviously, he makes a big difference in terms of them stopping the run, and more importantly, he makes a big difference in terms of them rushing the passer. You saw it yesterday. He was able to collapse the inside of the pocket, get consistent pressure. His presence also helps Christian Barmore. He was more active yesterday, coming off a tough week. So, again, having Milton Williams back is huge, okay? And if you get Spillane and Landry back this week, then you're in really good shape, and you'll obviously have the inherent advantage up front. But again, I've seen this too many times with the NFL playoffs, man. You cannot doubt a team. It doesn't matter that they're coming in from a warm climate. It doesn't matter that they might be more banged up than you. If you don't come to play on Sunday night, this team is good enough. They're well coached enough to beat you. The Patriots are going to need to bring their A game. Vrabel's going to tell us that all week. The players and assistant coaches are going to tell us that all week as well. If you don't bring your A game, you lose Sunday night. They're going to need to play really well to win this one. And as you mentioned, this bracket could potentially shape up pretty good for them if Buffalo beats Jacksonville on Sunday and Pittsburgh beats Houston next Monday night. I think if that happens, that's the ideal scenario because now Buffalo goes out to Denver, and I think they can beat Denver, and Pittsburgh comes here, and you should have beat Pittsburgh in week 3. You didn't. You get a chance of redemption there. That would be ideal because then if you win, Buffalo wins, now you're playing a third home playoff game. You host the AFC Championship game, which would be against Buffalo, and I think that'd be a tough game. But that would be ideal to, at the very least, get to the AFC Championship game. I asked you and John Lyons this last night, and I put this out there today as part of a poll, and I'm genuinely curious to see, again, your perspective, but people's perspective as well in regards to playoff expectations for this team, because I want to see if the people's expectations match your expectations. It's easy to say that it's Super Bowl or bust, but I think that that's so disingenuous when you're talking about a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 4 years, hasn't hosted a home playoff game in 6. I think it's easy to say it's Super Bowl or bust. I don't think you could say that with this team because they're inexperienced. Their youth is going to be a factor. And you know what? It's been a long time for them. I'm not quite sure we should be sitting here saying it's Super Bowl or bust. I think we need to pace ourselves.
No, and look, I think with expectations changing, you're allowed to be disappointed if they lose Sunday. Sorry. Um, you're allowed to be disappointed, but I don't think you can call it a failure. This team was, many had them winning 7, 8, maybe 9 games. Some people, were talking out of their ass in August and had them winning 11, 12, 13. I think I was in the 8 or 9 range. Then you got people taking victory laps now. But look, expectations change, like I said. And if they lose the first round, I said this last night, that's a really bad loss, I think. And I know the Chargers present a difficult task, but it's the playoffs. Everybody's good at this point. We're good-ish. But I do think you can expect them to win a home playoff game when you go 14-3. But after that, if they lose to whoever, Jacksonville, Buffalo, even Pittsburgh, I think you can be disappointed with Pittsburgh. But if they lose to anybody else, you lost in the divisional round. Like, you can't call that a failure when expectations were so low to start the year. So, 14-3 certainly changes things. But I think as long as you get out of the first round, you can't call anything else a failure.
So here are some of the results from the poll that I posted this morning. I asked Patriot fans, how will the Patriot season end? Vote and then comment on the outcome. We would love to hear from you, okay? 2% of the people that voted think that their season could end Sunday night in the wild card round, which sounds about right. 24% thinks that their season could end in the divisional round. 42% believes that their season could end in the AFC Championship game. And finally, 32% believe that their season could end in the Super Bowl. Now, nobody commented as to how they think the season will end, but this is what people are thinking out there. So a lot of people have them on track to get to the AFC Championship game. What happens there remains to be seen. Decent amount of people also have them on track to get to the Super Bowl. Are these realistic possibilities? Yes, they are, because you're going to play 2 home playoff games. And you'll be favored in both. You'll be favored Sunday night against the Chargers, and depending on how things play out this weekend, you'll probably be favored in the divisional round as well. And if you take care of business, you're either going to get a chance to host an AFC Championship game, or you're going to hit the road and visit Denver and play in one there. So I think a lot of people, when you look at these numbers, Kevin, I think truthfully the expectation is minimum AFC Championship game. But for a lot of people, Super Bowl is the expectation.
That's what happens when you go 14-3. Like I said, that record alone, and yes, it's inflated a little bit with the schedule, but you play who's on your schedule. So we're not going down that road. But 14-3 is 14-3 in the NFL. It's going to raise expectations just on aesthetics alone. So I'm not surprised. And I've been saying they're a Super Bowl contender for 2 months now, just based on how wide open the AFC is. You saw it again last night with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and how that game ended. Like, you never know in this league, and especially in the AFC this year. So I don't blame fans for thinking they can go to the Super Bowl. They can, especially with the way this bracket kind of worked out.
Interesting little nugget from the Patriots communication department, who do a fantastic job, by the way. Stacey James, Aaron Salkin, Stephanie Badi, Julia, they do a fantastic job. With their win yesterday, it is the 6th season that the Patriots have won 14 or more games in their history. That is the most in NFL history. So that's pretty impressive. They won 14 games in 2003, 2004, 2007, 2010, 2016, and 2025. So they've won at least 14 games in each of those seasons. They've done it over the course of 6 seasons, which, like I said, is the most in NFL history. So pretty impressive.
And the other stat that stood out to me after that game last night was Drake May, now with the 72% completion percentage, the best in Patriots history, meaning you're better than Tom Brady. We had a season better than Tom Brady. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think a lot of people, it's interesting because a lot of people will look at that and say, wow, he's already in the same company as Brady. Well, not quite. He has a
No, that's not what I'm saying.
long way to go. No, that isn't what you're saying at all. But I think some of these numbers are more important than people think. Having a 72% completion rate is pretty impressive. And the fact that you're the only Patriot to ever accomplish that number, and that includes a great Tom Brady, I think that just goes to show you the type of year that Drake May has had in 2025. All right, Ken checks back in. Do you think Chargers running back Omarion Hampton will give the Patriots run defense fits? Although its D-line has been good against the run. I think he can. Talented rookie running back out of North Carolina, a big back. He's a Jim Harbaugh kind of back. Harbaugh wants to run the ball downhill, hit A gap, hit B gap. Hampton's going to be able to do that. Again, this is a diverse offense that not only runs the running backs, but can run the quarterback as well. I know Herbert's banged up with a hand injury, but the Chargers could potentially run him as well. So I think there's a good chance the Patriots get a relatively heavy dose of Omarion Hampton on Sunday night.
Yeah, you hope Milt Williams and Christian Barmore have their best game. But if I'm not mistaken, he was a teammate of Drake May for a year, right?
Yes, correct.
So I'll be curious to see if Drake gets asked about him this week. But
translation, again, you're going to ask Drake about him?
Yeah, 100% actually, now that came to mind. But again, I believe in Milt Williams and Christian Barmore up front. The linebackers being back, being healthy would certainly help. But we saw him tear up BC, I think 2 years ago. He's good, man. He's really good back.
He is. He's a big
really
back. He runs hard. Like I said, he's effective inside the tackles. And if you don't have a Spillane, that could be a problem against a running back like this.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah, so we'll see. Ken, thanks for checking in. We appreciate it. Nonetheless, should be a great game. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. And in a lot of ways, I kind of want that for the Patriots. I think you need that this time of year. You need to be pushed. You need to be challenged. It can only help you down the road. So I'm okay with them being in a tight game. I think it would be good for them long term.
Before I forget, this came to mind. Do you put any stock in the way that LA and the Patriots handled their last games of the year? Patriots went out and got it. LA sort of sat back and did what they did.
They kind of knew that they were pretty much locked into where they were locked in. Realistically speaking, if you're Jim Harbaugh, you weren't going to play Justin Herbert in that game. You couldn't. If you wanted to make any kind of a playoff run, you couldn't risk further injury there with his left hand. So I think they were kind of in a no-win situation.
No, I mean, again, you saw I was watching most of that game yesterday, and if Herbert plays, LA wins that game. So on one hand, you can look at it and say they wanted the Patriots you have to assume Vrabel will use that to some extent. He's clearly been that type of coach, but um, I do wonder if there's anything to having that momentum as opposed to not having it. But it's a completely different season, so we'll see.
Yeah, it is a completely different season, and we will see. By the way, thoughts on the game being on Sunday night? We were in the parking lot and got in our cars last night, right when the league announced the wild card round schedule. Um, Admittedly, I can't. I'm like, how are you not playing this game on Saturday night? I know that they love Packers Bears, but that game's going to be on Amazon Prime. It's not even going to be a network game. So why aren't I don't like the Sunday night game primarily because I have to get up early the next day. That's my issue with it. Won't be as much of an issue for you, although you are going to have to turn around and go right back there more than likely on Monday, depending on what happens Sunday night. But not the biggest fan of them being on Sunday Night Football. I get why. Herbert May, great quarterback matchup. May is compared to Herbert the most. I get all of that. It's the Patriots. They're back. You want to put them on national television again. But I wish it was Saturday night versus Sunday night.
I was stunned it was not 4 or 8 on Saturday. Um, I think clearly they either wanted Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson on Monday Night Football. I think that was sort of some of the thinking there. And then I was surprised the Bears and Packers weren't Sunday either 1 or 4. But look,
I was surprised that they weren't the Sunday night game, to be
yeah,
honest with
yeah,
you.
that too.
Or the 4 o'clock Sunday game.
Yeah.
I think I saw that game fitting into one of those two time slots. I had a really good feeling, even going into yesterday, that the Patriots could potentially play on Saturday night. But
it felt that used to be sort of their spot, right? That's
yeah.
well, actually more so divisional round, but that Saturday night primetime game used to be basically a holiday here in Foxborough. So, look for us, it is what it is. We'll be home at 3 a.m. and it's a long day, but it's tough to complain when you're watching a playoff game up there for free with a meal. So I don't want to bitch too much, but um, again, it's nice to have them in prime time. All eyes will be on Gillette. That place is going to be absolutely rocking, and the atmosphere should be electric. So, all things considered, for the fans, I think it's awesome. One of hungover fans on Monday at work, but
There'll be a lot of people banging in on Monday for
yeah,
sure.
that too. So, look, it is what it is, and I feel like Saturday would have been sort of a little bit more fun, but I think it's fine. It is what it is.
Ken checks back in. This game should be Saturday or Sunday afternoon, 4:30. Yeah. I don't know about Saturday afternoon. I never thought they were going to put this game on Saturday. I thought you probably get either get Houston in the winner, Pittsburgh, Baltimore in that slot, or Carolina and the Rams. They ultimately picked Carolina and the Rams. But I didn't believe that the Patriots were ever in play for that slot. I thought it was going to be Saturday night. Saturday night or Sunday in that 425 slot. Turns out they're the primetime game, which again speaks to how far they've come. And it's even harder to believe when you remember that, again, this will be their first home playoff game in 6 years. The last time they played a home playoff game was Tom Brady's last game in January of 2020, right before COVID broke out. So, you know what? That was a long time ago, man. And it's funny because I was saying this today to a colleague. We joked about the fact that when you look at the Patriots' so-called rebuild, it was really only 2 years. If you go back and you look at their 2020 scores when they went 7-9, they lost a handful of games that year by a touchdown or less. They very easily could have been a playoff team that year. They could have been a playoff team in 2022 had they not lost to Buffalo week 18 of the season. They finished 8-9. So when you get woe be me Patriot fans, I laugh because I'm like, try being a Jets fan, try being a Browns fan, try being a Raiders fan these days. Try rooting for these organizations that just can't get it right. They can't fix it. They can't get it back on track. The Jets haven't made the playoffs in 16 years. But the Patriots have 2 4-13 seasons. That's it. They have a franchise quarterback again, an elite coach. They win 14 games. And there are some Patriot fans that are out there going, oh, woe be me. That rebuild was terrible. It was the 2 worst years of my life. It's like, well, try rooting for these teams and these fan bases, which are now a decade plus into, not making the playoffs or being competitive.
So on that, you've been on that for a while, first of all, but try being a Patriots fan up until like 85 and then up until 2001.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think I've told you the story when they won that
And
01
even
Super
up until
Bowl.
2001, they made the playoffs under Pete Carroll. It wasn't bad under Pete
Right.
Carroll, trust me.
I think I've told you the story in 01. I'll never forget my dad telling me when they won, enjoy this now because you never know when you're going to see it again. It had been, 16 years since any championship around here. So, yeah, no, those people it's annoying. But just to go back to the primetime thing, on Sunday, the sneaky disadvantage that you lose, and it's a small one, but if it was either one or four, you have that time zone thing kind of playing a factor. Now
Yeah.
at eight, it really doesn't. So again, it's a small thing, but it's a part of that home field advantage that you lose.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to obviously factor into it now because you're playing at night and that won't affect the Chargers. The time zone won't affect, time change won't affect them. Nothing will. I think that it's going to come down to, playing the game, executing, staying healthy and making plays when you need to get the win. So, of course, the Patriots and the Chargers have seen a lot of each other in recent years, especially the last 2 years. They didn't play each other in this regular season in 2025, but they're pretty familiar with each other. Chargers have gotten the best of the Patriots in recent years as well, including an ugly 6-0 win a couple years ago. They blew them out here last year on a Saturday. So Patriots, however, have also blown them out. They beat them that 2020 season that I was talking about. Patriots beat them 45-0 out there that year. So Chargers have gotten the best of the Patriots the last couple of years, but I think this will be a pretty even matchup. And again, the Patriots should be and will be favored in this one. You are watching / listening to the New England Football Show presented by Mortgage Right. I'm John Sarianides. As always, I'm joined by my partner, Kevin Stone. And again, I do want to remind you that if you're looking to sell your current home, purchase your next home, purchase your first home, or refinance, give our good friend Herb Devine a call, 781-254-2846. You can also shoot him an email at herb@mortgageright.com. He and his team are available anytime, including nights and weekends. All right, Stone, I know that you've been chomping at the bit to talk some college football. It's going to be a short show tonight based on topics, but I know you've been chomping at the bit to talk about the transfer portal. Portal officially opened on Friday. It's open until January 16th in terms of this window, but man, has it been busy. And I got to tell you, I love this shit. As much as I've been anti-portal, I love the constant movement. And I'm not like you. I don't look at it as, oh, it's content. I look at it as it's awesome. It's ridiculous. It's stupid that they're allowed to transfer as much as they are. But the constant movement, I mean, I've thought a lot about this in recent weeks. But imagine some of these guys that are transferring every year. Like, where's your degree going to be from? Who's going to hand you a degree at the end of this? Like, it's insanity to me. All that being said, the player movement, the money exchanging hands, now there's agents involved. We've had to reach out to agents. It's insanity. It's 100% insanity. It's effing idiotic. But boy, does it lead to us having something to do this time of year. It gives us additional content. It gives us something that we can tie to the college football programs in the area. So it's nuts. It's crazy, but it keeps us busy.
So it's growing on me a little bit. And the problem is, and you said it right off the bat, it's a shit show. Like, there is no rules. It's lawlessness out there right now. And look, you and I have both heard and seen some of the asking offers for kids that frankly may not deserve it. And the numbers are insane.
Yeah.
Now, look, and when we've talked about this, they're probably getting bad advice, or a lot of kids are getting bad advice from the wrong people. But you're going to get that everywhere. You're going to get that in pro sports, and you're now getting it in amateur sports. It is what it is. It's a complete shit show. Some of the asking prices are crazy. I'm not sure. And there's an element of kids don't have to deal with any failure whatsoever anymore. If you don't make a team or you're not starting, you can go hop in the portal and go get playing time somewhere else. That's annoying. Again, because there's no real dealing with adversity anymore. The kids that do stay, I have much more respect for. From our perspective, yeah, there's a
And I
ton.
will say this though, before you go any further,
Yep,
I do want to make one thing clear though. Not every kid that's in the portal is in the portal because of their own doing.
100%.
A lot of kids have been told by coaches, hop in the portal, you're never going to play here because they
Or
want to free up that roster spot to pursue a kid in the portal that they think can help them and can play for them. So that's an important thing to point out. I think
yeah,
that kind of gets lost in all of this portal talk. In most cases, it's not the kids. In most cases, they recognize I'm not going to have an opportunity here. And who's getting paid here? It's really the top 2% of kids. Those are the guys that are getting paid. The majority of kids are not getting these high six-figure, seven-figure salaries on NIL deals to play at a school for a year. They're barely getting anything. So I do think we do need to be careful with how we frame the conversation when it comes to the portal, because while yes, it's not good for college football, it's not all bad in the sense that a lot of the kids that are in it are not in it by choice. They simply didn't have a choice.
no, and I'm glad you clarified that because look, some kids might be in for family reasons. Like there are
Yeah.
different avenues why kids are in, but the perception of the portal right now, and again, based on a lot of stuff we're hearing, is it's just chaotic and kids refuse to deal with failure. Again, that's not everybody. I'm glad you clarified that, but um, and to your point as well, it's giving kids opportunities. Like a few kids that BC picked up today, wide receiver Jackson Wade from Florida. Again, that's a major program. He's seen 63 total snaps in 3 years. Right away, he's going to probably be able to come compete here. So there's those kids that I think I enjoy covering this aspect more of because they're now going to get an opportunity instead of just sort of sitting there and getting that degree after 3 or 4 years. So look, and for us, frankly, it's hard to keep up with everything. Um, it certainly helped last year when the Patriot season was over and we were looking at the draft already. So it's chaotic, it's hectic, but yes, it's a different time in college football and it's entertaining. Um, it's just you wonder where the loyalty is, and if there's any sense, you know, in football, and you know this, you always hear about playing for each other, playing for the guy next to you. If you know the kid's leaving in a year, or if he's just there for the bag, how much can you really trust him on the field? So I think there's still we everybody I think feels the same way. There needs to be some help with all of this, but it is growing on me. I'll admit that.
Again, they've started to legislate the portal. NIL, they're never going to go after. They're never going to touch NIL because now we're talking about people and their
Right.
image and likeness and money. It's never going to happen.
Mm.
Once you open the NIL Pandora's box, it was over. You were never closing it again. So I do think though that if you could fix the portal, and the portal still needs a lot of work, but if you could fix the portal and you can eventually get to a place where NIL, where young people understand that not everybody's going to get the bag, and that people are going to start to realize, well, maybe I shouldn't just be indiscriminately transferring every year. I think that's going to help college football and college sports as a whole. But for now, I mean, the perception is if I'm not going to get a chance to play here, I can go somewhere else. I can move multiple times a year if I have to, in season, out of season. It's not good for the sport. It's not healthy. And I think a lot of people recognize it and see it, but they're also not willing to step up and do anything about it. I think that's the problem here. And I do think at some point this is all going to come to a head. I think eventually it's going to come to a head. And I think a program like Boston College could get caught in the crosshairs of it. Same with these guys. Same thing with UConn, where they can get caught in the crosshairs with it. And now you have to, I'm not saying they're going to go down to FCS, but now you do have to start to think about, all right, where do we fit into the FBS pecking order here? Because we don't have the money that an Indiana has now where they can go out and sign Nick Marsh and Turbo Richard and Josh Hoover and load up for next year. The so-called basketball school, it's clearly a football school now. They're certainly spending like one. So, I mean, again, can Boston College compete with that? I don't think so. I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I'm going to guess that Indiana probably has a deeper war chest than Boston College, and they can go out and get those guys as opposed to a BC who is pursuing a different kind of player because they are working with some financial limitations. And this isn't a knock on the guys they brought in, and there was interest in the guys that they brought in from other programs. But I think realistically speaking, part of the reason they brought these guys in is because they can afford them.
Perfect example is Saginaw Valley State quarterback Mason McKenzie, who is presumably their number one right now. He had some interest from a lot of big time schools, but as a depth piece, he's coming in to compete for the starting job. So, and if you look, they've gone the FCS route and the D2 route, pretty early here. Today, they got some bigger school names. Wide receiver from UFC, Javarius Green, Anthony Polano, I want to pronounce that right, from Washington State. So they are dipping into the bigger time programs, which they need to do. But it's clear they're shopping at a different level than different teams. And it's something we've talked about the entire season. Now, putting out that statement a few weeks ago that they're going to spend money and then picking up some of the kids that they've picked up from some of the schools they've picked up, it's a bad image for the fan base. And to your point, it's not a knock on the kids they're bringing in. It's reality. It is what it is. They're shopping at a different tier than other teams right now. So to your point, yeah, I do think they're going to get caught up in that. They're doing the best they can. I do think you'll see many more kids coming from big time schools, but it's going to be the kids that didn't see much playing time that are now going to come in and compete for their role instead of, bringing in a star player where he's going to play right off the bat. You're not going to see that this year, I don't think, from them.
Yeah, and I think Boston College has actually gotten off to a pretty strong start. They brought in a lot of talent, specifically the last couple of days. And we've said it now for weeks that they were going to need to be super active in the portal. And given the number of defections that they've had in the portal the last couple of weeks, they needed to be active, and they have been active, which is a good thing. But I do think it's important to point out that they still have a long way to go. And I'm not convinced McKenzie is a starting quarterback. I think he's going to be in the competition to be the guy.
Definitely.
But they still need to bring in at least one, maybe even two more. So they're not done there.
Did you find it any or curious at all that when they put out his graphic today, it said the signal caller as sort of the guy? Did you take any stock in that or no?
Listen,
I don't
want to sound like I'm disparaging the kid. I just don't think right now you can call him the signal caller. They need to bring in another quarterback or two. In my opinion, they need to bring in two more quarterbacks.
I would say they should bring in
one's not going to be enough.
No, I thought they were going to bring 4 total, frankly.
Right.
But I did find that kind of interesting today that that was the word they used.
Yeah, it is interesting. But, I mean, again, look, UConn is in the same boat. UConn's going to have to remake the quarterback room as well. I mean, you lose Joe Fagnano to graduation, but then Tucker McDonald transfers. Kisan Farrer transfers. I mean, all of a sudden now, you have no quarterbacks, really. You have Tyler Smith in the room. That's it. So they're in the same boat. Jason Candle's going to have to reimagine this quarterback room. And, yes, you can potentially bring in a freshman like he's doing with Bo Polston that could potentially compete for a starting job in fall camp. But they're in the same boat, and they've been just as busy. They had a day. We got a piece coming out on that tomorrow morning in regards to UConn's day in the portal, or the last couple of days for UConn in the portal. They've been pretty busy. The Toledo to Stores pipeline has been firmly established now. But, I mean, again, this is not a knock on McKenzie. Boston College needs to bring in at least 2 more quarterbacks.
No, you want that competition. And Bill O'Brien, how much has he preached it since forever, but since he's been here, especially, I'll ask you this, though. Do you almost think he enjoys this more than inheriting the team that he did? He can completely now make this team in his image. I feel like the coach...
He can enjoy it all he wants, man. They were a better team 2 years ago than they are right now.
Oh, 100%.
And if you look at the guys they've brought in, these guys they're not ready-made. They're going to need some time. They need to marinate. They're going to need a good spring.
Yeah,
they're going to need a strong fall camp. They haven't brought in a lot of experience.
No, they're all competing for jobs. Every single kid so far.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if I were him, I would run around pounding my chest saying, look at what I've done. I don't think they've done nearly enough. But then again, they're nowhere near being done.
No, I
there's
saw.
still another potentially 15 to 20 new faces that are going to join this program in the next two weeks to a month.
No, so I just want to clarify. I'm asking, I guess more so, and of course they have a GM now in Kenyatta Watson, but you're basically a GM. If you're a college head coach at a major program, you're sort of a GM now, no? So I guess I'm asking, do you think he's enjoying?
No, you're not a GM because
Well,
you hired one. So
fair,
he's
but
not the GM, but he is working closely with the GM. They are
right,
collaborating to try
he's
to identify guys in the portal that A, they
there.
want, and B, that
Yeah,
they can afford.
they're both building a team. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
think he's enjoying at least that aspect of it?
Well, I'm sure he is. I mean, I've
Yeah,
talked to college coaches that as much as they don't like the current system, what they do enjoy about it, and this is a big reason, let's not forget, why Bill Belichick ultimately opted to pursue the North Carolina job. The thing they do like about it is the team building aspect of it and being able to turn the roster over every year and using whatever funds they have at their disposal to do that. So, listen, if you got a big bank account and you can spend like a program like Texas Tech does, that's why they were able to land, Brendan Sorsby. They gave him $5 million. If you've got a big bank account that you can draw from to spend on these players, yeah, I bet you it's a ton of fun. But if you don't, and you have to be very selective with the players you target because there's financial limitations there, I don't know how much fun that is, right?
no, I hear you. And again, fans need to kind of relax. The portal window is open until the 16th. You could be signing guys after that for a while. So this is going to go on for 2 months probably.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. UConn is in the same boat as I mentioned earlier. Some of the names that they brought in over the course of the last couple of days: Kenji Christian, who played at Toledo last year, 6'2", 207-pound tailback, scored 4 rushing touchdowns last year. He is committed to UConn. Defensive back Jaden Price, he's a safety. He's long at 6'3", 185. He is committed to UConn as well. He also is coming from Toledo. Raphael Green Nayarko, an offensive lineman, as well as Isaiah Switzer, also both coming from Toledo. They are transferring to UConn, should help fortify an offensive line that has lost a ton of talent from the last 2 years. Jediah Willoughby, a wide receiver, is also transferring in, and Eshawn Carter, who's a really good defensive tackle for Toledo the past 2 seasons, he is transferring in as well. So Jason Kendall, you head football coach at UConn, using that Toledo to Storrs pipeline to begin the process of fortifying the roster. But man, he's got a lot of work to do as well. A lot of production left the building over the course of the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I feel like he's sort of in a much different spot. Of course, he is in a different spot than Bill O'Brien. He can sort of, I don't want to say take his time in building this, but he can take his time. You know what I mean? Like he's got some leeway here to build it how he wants to, and I think the fan base will be patient given how things have gone over there the last 4 years. They've had success, so it's not like fans are clamoring for any type of bowl or anything. He's going to have a little more patience and be able to build it the right way.
Yeah, no, I agree. And of course, I'm sporting my brand new UConn hat.
It's a nice hat. It's very 1980s ish.
It is. It's by the game. So there you go.
Is it mesh? Yeah,
Yeah,
1980s all over it.
a little trucker hat. Yeah, by the game. Great product I used to wear as a kid. Came in the mail today, so I figured I would rock it tonight. Of course, big supporter of all our programs, but I've long been a fan of UConn basketball, especially the men's program. When I was a kid, they were really good under Jim Calhoun, and you had Ray Allen, and you had all the guys that played on those teams that I watched growing up. So obviously, big supporter of Jim Moore on the football program in recent years. Looking forward to supporting and covering Coach Kendall and the Huskies. So I've kind of adopted UConn as my team of the teams we cover, but I root for all of them. And by the way, I paid for this. Coaches, if you're watching, feel free to send us some hats and gear here. I mean, we will wear it. We will support the programs, whether you do it or not. But give us a John Gruden treatment here. Send us some stuff. I mean, I wouldn't mind a nice new BC hat. I wouldn't mind some UMass stuff. Wouldn't mind some stuff from our FCS schools. If you send it, we will wear it. I had to pay for this, but if any UConn folks are out there watching, Send me another hat my way. Send me a couple of them. Send me a sweatshirt. Let's go.
So
We support the programs. Help us support them.
I was gonna say you could do the Sarianides unboxing like Gruden if they do. I will say, and thank you to these schools, I've gotten lucky. Holy Cross and Harvard have given me some stuff over the years. I'd probably say if I had a team, it'd be Holy Cross, right? Like the way you have UConn, probably.
I would
Part of
think
our
so.
teams.
I mean, I don't know why it's not Boston College. You're supposed to be the Boston College guy. That
Well,
should be your team.
so I feel
But
like also running for Eagle Action on 3 sort of precludes me from that.
it's a
No?
conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So you're saying because of that, you're going to make Holy Cross your honorary team that you quote are a fan of
Yeah, I'll rock the hat
in this
next week.
market.
Yeah, I'll go with their hat next week. I had to go the original 01 AFC Championship hat, found it unpacking, manifesting a Super Bowl run. So, and I think it's the best championship hat of any of the ones that they've had.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you could have worn your Holy Cross hat tonight. I mean, you could go get it now and put it on. Who knows?
it's buried. So,
Okay. So that's
I,
not
I,
going to happen.
I
We don't
have
have
2
enough
boxes.
time for you to find it.
I have 2 boxes of hats I haven't unpacked.
I mean, I
have
don't
a hat
understand how you're still unpacking. You've been in this place now for over a month. I don't get how you're still unpacking.
Just the hat boxes, and yes, I do have 2 full Home Depot medium boxes full of hats. I was a hat
Dude,
collector growing up.
I am a hat collector to this day. I got 2 new hats today. I got this, and I'm a huge fan of the script hats. People know I wear the New England Football Journal one all the time. I got an Arizona Cardinals script hat that came in. Perfect timing. They fired Jonathan Gannon today, 3 years after his episode. But I'm a huge hat collector. In fact, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with mine, but I have well over 100 hats in my collection.
Yeah, I'm probably done pushing that pretty close. So that's my unpacking is done. As you can see, again, as of last weekend, I have a real background for a change, but the
I'm
unpacking is
still
done.
trying to figure out what that plaque is. Is that like a participation in lacrosse plaque? What is that?
The big one or the small one? They're both
The
running
big
awards.
one.
No, the big one is a from the Secondary Schools Athletic Directors Association, an award from them back in 2020, and from the Swimming Coaches Association during my freelance days, I think 2020 as well.
Nice.
Technically
Like, Kevin,
speaking,
thank you for tolerating swimming. Here's a plaque.
technically, I am an award-winning journalist.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Pulitzer. No, I listen. I mean, I've come to embrace the chaos with the portal. I'm excited about it. I'm all over it now. I'm going to be all over it all off season. I love it. I mean, again, it's free agency gone wild. You get a little bit of a taste of it with the NFL in March, but this is awesome because it's never ending free agency. And by the way, I've never probably told you this, but my dream job in football is to be an NFL general manager. That's my dream job. As much as I love coaching and I love the X's and O's and studying playbooks and whatnot, my dream job is being a general manager. So I love player movement, reshuffling the roster, all of it. I can't get enough of it.
So I have 2 questions for you based off that then. One, how big of a fan are you of the GM mode Madden? I'm not saying recently, but back in your video game days.
I don't know. I don't even remember it. I don't think I ever used it.
Okay, I was just curious. I used to love it. I don't think you could handle conversations with agents. I think you'd want to kill them.
No, I've had plenty of them.
Negotiations or conversations?
I would be able to handle them. I'd be able to handle conversations and negotiations, no problem.
Conversations are different, but
I don't think I'd want to kill them because you got to be able to work with them in order to either get the player you want or take care of your player and keep them long term.
That's true. Fair.
So you got to learn to get along if you want to get along, Stone. And I'm trying to teach you that lesson. It's part of your mandated New Year's resolutions here at New England Football Journal. Get along with people.
I'm aware. I'm well aware.
Yes. High school wise, not a lot to talk about other than this is All-State Week here at New England Football Journal. And no, I'm not talking about the insurance company. They're not sponsoring us. It'd be nice if they were, but they're not. We are going to unveil our all NEPSAC team on Friday. We're going to unveil our college teams on Saturday. We're going to unveil our MIAA All-State teams on Sunday, including our Player and Coaches of the Year award winners. And next Monday, we're going to unveil our Connecticut coaches and players of the year winners and our Connecticut All-State team. So that'll officially put a bow on the 2025 season. And from Massachusetts, for any of the players and coaches of the year, you could pick up your award at the New England Coaches Clinic at Gillette Stadium on February 27th and 28th. We will be reaching out to set that up for you. For our Connecticut winners, we will be sending them to you in the mail. So we're looking forward to that. And of course, those awards are all done by Championship Award guys. Ken Alley and his staff do a tremendous job with Championship Award guys. Best in the business as far as I'm concerned. If you want rings, plaques, awards, you name it, reach out to Ken Alley and his staff. They are the best. ChampionshipAwardGuys.com for all of your trophy, plaque, and ring needs. If you're in the market for plaques and trophies or championship rings, reach over to Championship Award Guys. Ken will take care of you and tell him we sent you. All right, Stone, final thoughts here before we wrap it up.
Yeah, just a couple real quick FCS things. In the portal, a couple local names. Jack Funk went to Bryant after going to BC. And Datrell Jones is heading to Holy Cross. It's a huge pickup for Holy Cross. Funk is as well for Bryant, especially if they want to compete in the CAA or start competing in the CAA. But I think Datrell is a huge addition for the Crusaders. And then the NFL and FCS had their first ever showcase this past weekend down in Nashville. The FCS National Championship is actually on right now. 50 FCS players basically went through an NFL combine before the Rio NFL combine. It's the first ever, and I think it's a huge thing that they're doing. Hopefully it grows to more than 50 kids, but two local guys, AJ Pena from URI and Bryant's Michael Audie were both down there. So congratulations to them. We will probably end up hearing their names at the combine, or at least during a few more of the All-Star games, and hopefully in the NFL draft or as UDFAs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, both guys super productive at URI and Bryant, respectively. So it's great to see them working out at this combine this weekend. And of course, it's All-Star season. We're going to start to see some of the All-Star games starting this weekend. It's hard to believe, but we're already on to the NFL draft, which is crazy. I mean, it truly is all football all the time. There is no off season in football. It's one giant season now.
It is, but it makes it nice when you don't have to cover the NFL draft in October.
Yeah. It is nice. It means that the Patriots are in the midst of a playoff push, and now that they're in the playoffs, we don't have to worry about where they're picking and who they're going to pick and everything else. We can talk about that after their season ends. So that is indeed the nice part. All right. Well, great job. And I do want to also mention that new UNH coach, Sean Goldrich, will be introduced tomorrow at a press conference up in Durham. So he'll be introduced as the new head football coach of the Wildcats, of course. He's a 2015 graduate of UNH, so we want to wish him the best of luck. And again, like I said, he is scheduled to meet with the media tomorrow. All righty, that'll do it for this week's episode of the New England Football Show. For Kevin Stone, I'm John Sarianides. Till next week, peace.
See ya.